Most people think if the gross rental income on a property covers the mortgage payment, then you can do a DSCR loan and it'll be fine. But that's actually not the case. There's a lot of deals right now that are falling apart and failing because of poor planning. And also people think that whatever the gross rental income is that the lease agreement says, that's what the underwriters will use, and it's not the case. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how lenders calculate DSCR loans using DSCR loan calculators that I use in my business right now when I'm helping my clients through their applications getting approved for DSCR loans. So let's find out how much can you actually borrow and walk through real examples. I'm going to show you 2 actual properties on Zillow that we want to purchase so you guys have an idea of what that looks like. So the first thing is understanding DSCR if you don't already, debt service coverage ratio. There's one question lenders ask, and does that property pay for itself, right? We don't look at your personal income. We look at the formula, which is monthly rent divided by total monthly payment. Okay, so what does the property generate? And then we have principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA. If it's a condo, you have those things into the payment. And so the lease or the rental income has to cover that mortgage payment, but I'll show you why right now a lot of deals are falling apart. So for example, if the underwriters use the rent of $2,000 a month and your mortgage payment is $1,800 a month, then the DSCR ratio is 1.1 and it qualifies, right? So what lenders include, like I mentioned earlier, as you see in this breakdown here, and then we want to look at working backwards from those numbers. So if the monthly rent is, let's say, $2,500 from the property income, we have taxes, insurance, let's say, are $400 a month. The P&I, so principal and interest payment, is $2,100 a month, and that'll tell us, okay, our max loan amount is around $350,000 at the current rates, right? So sometimes what we do is we look at, with you putting 20% down, how much can you actually qualify? What does the rent need to be for that property to qualify for? Of course, we don't know if it does until we actually have the property in front of us, and the appraisals will make or break this deal. So let's actually go through 2 live Zillow examples so you can understand, just as a lender and as an investor, like how am I going to look at a property and see, okay, does this qualify or not? All right, so looking at the first property in Tampa, we have $320,000 as the list price. Let's say we're looking at this house and we're like, hey, you know what? I kind of like the layout. I like the floor plan. I like the sunroom. I like the backyard. We got a little pond, little lake. Need some rehabbing, probably need some updating. But let's say it's a pretty good house you want to buy, right? So what we want to look at, of course, is taxes. I don't trust Zillow taxes ever. So what I always do is look at the property tax info from the county directly so I can get actual accurate numbers. But let's just use what they use and I'll add a couple $100 on top of that. We take this and we divide it by 12. For insurance, we don't know what insurance is, so it helps to get a quote if you have an insurance person. So let's say it's $200 a month. So we pull out our DSCR calculator right here for our Tampa property. Now, 320 is the list price. We're putting 20% down, okay? Let's say the rate is 6.87, okay? We're doing a 30-year fixed mortgage, very common for DSCR loans. And let's say our gross rental income is $2,200 a month. Now, this is why a lot of deals are falling apart. Now, if you're refinancing and you have a property and your tenant pays $2,000 a month, but the appraiser believes that the market rents are $1,500 a month, the underwriters are going to use the lesser of the two. They're going to use that $1,500 a month number. However, if you can show to the underwriters that the tenant has paid for 2 months in a row via canceled checks, bank statements, paper trail, that they paid those 2 months on time, right? And they paid the exact number, the underwriters will use then the higher number in that example. When you're purchasing property, the current lease does not matter. Now for commercial, it does. When you're buying a 20-unit building, 10-unit building, right? We do want to look at the NOI, net operating income from that building. But in this case, they don't really factor in the current leases unless we can show that maybe we're going to have that tenant stay. Sometimes we can use that, but all in all, they're going to use the market rents of that property. So you might say, Ben, how do we calculate the market rents? Well, we have a software using House Canary here where we pulled up the property's info. So here's all the information here. We got the value, we got the rental value, which is one of my favorite parts. So it gives me on the low end and on the high end what the rental values are. Now, what's nice about this is we have our market rent value, which is $2,287. So I'm just going to use $2,200 to be conservative. So $2,200 a month, the taxes are $200 a month, and then insurance is $200. I could be wrong about insurance, but I just threw out a number. Based on these numbers, so taking the mortgage plus the taxes plus the insurance, and there's no HOA fees on this property, we have a DSCR ratio of 105, okay, 105%, which is good. It's basically 1.05. We don't want it to be under 100%. So if the rental income, let's say, was $1,800 a month, okay, that would not work. See that? 86%. It won't work, okay? If the rent was $2,000 a month. Let's see, will it work? No, it's at 95%. So we want it to be above, obviously 1,800 above 2,000 and whatever the minimum number is. You guys get the point. So that's one of the things that we look at. Let's say the rental income. The appraiser comes back and says, hey, you know what? For this house, you guys can charge probably $1,800 a month, right? And our taxes and insurance remain the same. So what do you do if the loan doesn't work? Well, you have a couple options. Instead of a 30-year fixed, we can do what's called a 40-year fixed with a 10-year interest-only loan. Okay, so that's one option. So that helps us a little bit, right? So if you guys notice that change there from a 30-year fixed, see, it's 86% at 30. And then at a 40, it's 96%. So it gets a little bit better because the payment's lower, right? Obviously, because it's a 4-year loan. And then eventually you can refinance, right? There's ARM options. Those aren't as popular anymore. And 15-year fix obviously doesn't make sense. The other thing you can do is divide up your assets. So if you have $100,000 sitting in a bank account, right? I mentioned this in one of my videos. You can divide that up by 36 months and use that for income. And that extra spread, that extra $1,000, $2,000 a month that you have because we divide up your assets by however many months, that could be used towards your income for this property. So it's very effective and we highly recommend it if the ratio doesn't work. So that's what we look at as a lender when we're looking at properties. Of course, the appraisal will make or break the deal. So it has to come in at value of the contract price, right? And the rental value has to come in at what we want to come in at, okay? Let's look at another property. Let's say you found a property in North Carolina here. We like this one that we're looking at now. Purchase price is $279, okay? Taxes, if we scroll down, again, I don't trust Zillow taxes, but for now, I'll just use it for the sake of time. I'm not saying they're always wrong. Most of the time, they're correct. So 2408 is the number that we're gonna use. So let's look at this property's value, okay? They probably did some rehab work because it's saying that the value is a lot less, but I don't really trust these as well. Let's say the rents are $1,600. That might also be low because it's thinking that maybe the property hasn't been rehabbed or updated. Who knows, right? But let's just use that number. So using that number of $1,600 a month rent for this North Carolina property in Greensboro, we have our purchase price, 20% down, right? Let's say the rate is 6.7%, 30-year fixed mortgage. Your monthly rental income is $1,600 a month. Taxes are $200. Insurance is $180, right? And our DSCR ratio is 87%, so it doesn't work, right? We need the rental income to be higher than that. Let's try $1,800. Okay, doesn't work. Let's try $1,900. Now, my hunch is that the actual market rent for this property is going to probably be higher than what the system told us. Obviously, that's just our system. We're just using for information purposes. The actual numbers are going to come from the appraiser. But also too, it helps to have your realtor run rental comps. So we do this in our properties all the time. When we're looking at a prospective property we want to buy, we have our realtor run market rent. It's like comps for values, right? Same thing for rents. They can run an analysis of, hey, how many other 3-bed, 3 baths or 3-bed, 2 baths or 2-bed, 1 baths houses are renting for right now in this area. And they'll run the numbers for you, okay? So in this case, $1,900 a month rent works. And what's nice is we use the gross. We don't use any net income. They just look at the gross income. Now, a big thing to mention too is your credit score does matter. If you have a 700 plus credit score, you could put 20% down. Like in those scenarios I showed you, those people had over 700 scores, so we're putting 20% down. If you have less than a 700 score, you might have to put 25% down then. That basically increases how much you have to put down, or it decreases your LTV if you're doing a cash out refinance. So keep that in mind. With the same property and same rent and DSCR and everything, you can't have a different loan amount because of that credit score. So that credit score has to be, I would say, above 700 if you want better terms for your DSCR loans. Listen, I hope that helped. We can run through the scenarios with you, your agent, your investor group, whoever you have on your team, and we can make sure that the DSCR loan qualifies and you have the best rates and the best options available to you as a real estate investor. So hopefully this was helpful with DSCR loans, but if you have properties you want to take cash out on as a line of credit, as a rental without personal income verification, we have DSCR HELOCs. I made a video about it right here. Go check it out where you can learn how to use, basically it's like a DSCR loan and a HELOC combined, and how you can open up that line of credit on a rental property using only the rental income.